Hi, thank you for joining me today. I am Julia, and this is Julia at Home. If you're new here, I'm a homeschooling mom to a 6-year-old girl who will be starting first grade and a 4-year-old boy who will be doing preschool or junior kindergarten this year, and a newborn girl who is 2 months old right now. And I follow a Montessori approach with my younger preschool kids, and then I kind of move more and more into Charlotte Mason as they get older. My first grader, we're doing more of the Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum, but I do have some Waldorf and other eclectic elements thrown in here and there. We are just about to start our new school year, so I'm going to be talking about curriculum, and I am splitting this into 3 separate sections. So the first will be our Charlotte Mason inspired curriculum of family subjects that we do. Then I will do separate videos for each child and what we're doing individually. My daughter's curriculum is very much Charlotte Mason inspired, and my son's is Montessori inspired. So stay tuned for the rest of those videos. But today we are talking about family subjects. So Charlotte Mason talks about spreading a feast. So there's a lot of different subjects that you just spend a little bit of time on daily, weekly, or monthly, depending on the subject. So the subjects we are going to be doing as a family this year are history and geography, science, which includes nature study, foreign language, which for us right now is Italian, literature, composer and artist studies, art, Shakespeare, health, and physical education. So that sounds like a lot, but again, most of these subjects are covered weekly, some of them only monthly. So let me now go into a little bit more detail on what we're doing for each of those. I'm going to start with history today. So our history is actually more of classical instead of Charlotte Mason, and if you're a Charlotte Mason purist, you'll understand what I'm talking about, and if not, don't worry about it. I'm following roughly the 4-year history cycle. I might extend it a bit in the middle because I really like the 1700s, and I love studying them. But beside the point, my daughter's doing first grade this year, so we will be doing ancient history. And so we will be using Story of the World. This is just the book, and it's history told as a story. So there's really short chapters. It's great for young narrators. We can just do a little chunk at a time. And that's kind of how it's designed to be used. Now we also got the CD because I thought this might be helpful if I'm feeding a baby and we're struggling to get all the reading done, to use the CD. And it's narrated by Jim Weiss, whom we love. And then I also got this workbook. Now this has a lot in it. So there's like narration questions for each chapter that you can use, additional reading and literature, and activity recommendations. I'm mainly using it it's got like coloring pages and maps in the back. And so that's mainly what I'm using it for. If I'm struggling with narration, or we seem to be struggling, I might dip in here for some inspiration in that regards, but that's the plan. So we're using this as a spine. However, I can't ever just do something simply. So we're going to be stopping at certain places and doing more of a unit study on that area. So for example, we are going to be doing ancient Egypt. And so we will be reading the ancient Egyptian chapters from Story of the World while we're doing, incorporating more books and activities on specifically ancient Egypt. And because I'm doing it this way, I'm skipping around a little bit in this book. And if you're interested, I can do another video about exactly how I'm laying all this out and organizing it. Otherwise, I am planning on doing a video as we complete each unit to show you what we've done and used and enjoyed. So that's history. Now, geography, we're not actually doing a whole separate geography. We're doing 2 things. One, we're using the history. So like I said, there's maps in here. And so that's going to partially be our geography. I'm planning on incorporating maps into each of these units. And as we go through the stories, it starts, there is, I think, 1 chapter on the Americas. It's mostly in the Mediterranean area because that's where a lot of the early civilizations were. So we'll be getting more heavy geography in that area, but that's perfectly fine. And I've mentioned last year's video that we are in Vermont, and Vermont actually requires us to do some form of Vermont history or geography. So we are doing Vermont, like very, very simple Vermont geography, like learning what and where the capital is, and then symbols of Vermont, such as the state tree, state flower, state bird, things like that, which technically aren't geography, but that's kind of what I'm doing for geography. It's not super involved. But so history and geography. Next, I'm going to talk about science. So science, again, has several different components. The first is nature journaling. So these are actually their nature journals from last year. This is my son's. And I got them new ones because they used a lot of the pages from last year. And I'm hoping to teach them to go more in order, page-wise, this year, because they kind of have a tendency to just open the book and skip around. I'm keeping my same one from last year, and I'm hoping it'll get me through this year as well. But so we have those and colored pencils and watercolors, and we will spend at least one day a month just looking at the colors that we see around us, talking about the colors that month shows in nature, that we find in nature, and then finding one or two things, whether it's a bird or a flower or a pine cone. Everybody gets to choose their own thing to draw. And then additionally, we will be doing a couple units. We did science units last year and we really enjoyed it. So if you're interested, you can check out, I have a video on my rocks and minerals unit, as well as on our nocturnal animals units that we did this past school year. And I will have coming up to just show you what resources I put together for flowers and birds. They were very small, casual units, but just resources I put out for the kids this summer. So I will have those coming up soon. Keep an eye out. We are actually starting the year with prehistory. I should have mentioned this with history. But so we're going to start on Big Bang, evolution, and dinosaurs. So that's going to be the science aspect of it. And then we're going to go a little bit into early man, which is more of a history aspect of it. So it's so prehistory, trees, weather, and ocean life are our science units for the year. And then we are doing one additional thing. I just had to pull these off the shelf to show you really fast. I got this for my daughter. It's Kingfisher's Animal Encyclopedia. And we already had this, and my son loves to look at it and the way things work now. And they both had asked me, kind of late into my planning, if we could somehow incorporate these. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be taking one day a week in morning time, and we'll just read like a section of this and a section of this. And then if they want to, they can draw something in their nature journals, or if we find something really interesting the way things work now, maybe we can find an experiment to do that shows more of it, maybe over the weekend or something. But it's not going to be something formal that I really plan in advance, just something we're going to read through as we go and learn together. So that's the third component of science. For Italian, I have compiled a whole lot of different resources. So we have, we get TalkBox Mom, which is a subscription service where you get a box in the mail, and it goes through, it's like a very natural way of teaching the language by speaking with your kids about subjects that you would normally talk to your kids about, and it has recordings done by native speaking moms. So it's cool, and I will show you more of that separately. I think it's too much to show in this one video, but I have that. I also have children's books in Italian, and I incorporate songs, and we have some games, like some card matching games and some bingo games. So I will do another video maybe where I show you all those resources and show you a little bit more about TalkBox Mom. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to organize it all. As of right now, my plan is just to, every day do a little bit of something in Italian. So we'll see kind of where that ends up, and if I find a good flow, I will share it with you. For artist study, we are studying 3 different artists this year. Let's see, look at my notes. We're starting with Alexander Calder, then we will be doing Seurat, who's known for pointillism, and Beatrix Potter are our 3 artists for the year. And for composers, we're actually starting by doing musical terms, which is something we started last year, but I had morning sickness with the baby, and so we didn't finish it. So I'm just doing it for the first term this year, and then we will be studying Dvorak and the Beatles. So it's shaping up to be a really fun year for composer and music studies, and I do those weekly. So we will listen to a piece of music or look at a piece of art and talk about it. And I also have books and other, mostly books, but also some CDs and such for that artist or composer. And then something a little different we are doing this year is, you'll notice I did 3, and I have 4 main terms planned out, plus a holiday term and a short summer term at the end of the year. But we only have 3 of those artists and composers. That is because for term 3, those are for terms 1, 2, and 4. But for term 3, we are not doing any artist or composer. Instead, we are going to do a Shakespeare play. So we're actually going to learn a little bit about Shakespeare as we go. I have Diane Stanley's biography. I'm going to grab it. Okay. Sorry. We have Diane Stanley's biography, The Bard of Avon. I love her biography, so I picked that up. And then we are going to be doing the play A Midsummer Night's Dream. And I have read through the book How to Teach Your Children Shakespeare by Ken Ludwig, I believe. I should have pulled that down as well, but I didn't. So I will link it below. And the plan is to memorize some of the verses from it. And then we're going to read a story of the play. And maybe draw out some of the characters or have some fun with that. And then we will actually read through the play. So we're going to take the 2 months to do that whole process. And then along with reading more and learning more about Shakespeare, I got a bunch of Usborne Shakespeare books that I'm really excited to use. The kids have actually already looked through them a bunch. They really like them. So that's our plan for Shakespeare. And then for art, I'm also doing something a little different than I've done this year, and that is I bought a curriculum. So, but I can't just use it as prepared because I have trouble doing that apparently. But I heard a quote. I don't know if it was Julie Bogart or somebody else said, "Don't let the curriculum use you. You use the curriculum." And so I have taken that to heart, and I am truly doing that. So. I found, I believe, Jen McIntosh at Wildflowers and Marbles, and she has a couple really cool planning videos on YouTube that I love. But she has used this with her kids. It's Artistic Pursuits, and these might be newer ones that she hasn't used these particular, but she's used this program before. And I went online and I got volumes 1 and I got volumes 2 because volume 1 is really an introduction to art designed for grades K through 3, which is perfect for my kids. And it has CDs included. So not all of the lessons, but some of them have a video lesson on CD. And it even includes some like artist or picture study. And so again, this volume 1 goes through just like the basics of art. I believe it starts with watercolor crayons, which I had never used before. We have watercolor pencils and regular watercolors. Talks about mixing colors, then it goes through construction paper, cutting and folding, and oil pastels, and landscape, still lifes, shapes, figures, portraits, animals. So it looks like a really fun program. But because we're doing ancient history this year, I could not help myself. I got volume 2, which is for the same age group, but it's on ancients. So we will mostly be actually working out of this book with the other one thrown in a little bit, and then I can just continue it next year. This one has different art projects from different places and time periods. It focuses around the Mediterranean, and they say that at the beginning that that's really the focus of this book. And so it starts with like cave drawings, then it has some Egyptian, Greek, Roman, all sorts of inspired art pieces, and you know, it's occurring to me now I can just do a different video showing you this more in depth. So if that's something you want to see, let me know below in the comments that you would like to see more of that program, and I will do that sooner to show you that. So that is our art, and I'm really excited about that. I may also throw in some other things that I have in mind for art, but that's the bulk of what we're going to be doing and using. So for literature, we are actually using Quiver of Arrows. Now, I'm going to go more into Quiver of Arrows, which is a Brave Writer program, when I talk about my daughter's curriculum, because it's mainly for her, but it uses several classic books to teach the mechanics of writing and some grammar and literary elements. And so my son will also be present to hear the book. So I'm considering it a family subject. We will be reading the books during morning time. So for example, we will be doing Charlotte's Web, we will be doing The House at Pooh Corner, and several others. But those are what I'm considering literature. And then we also do family read-alouds in the evenings as the whole family with my husband. And some of those are classic literature. Those are mostly actually historical fiction, because I paired a lot of them with our time period. So we're going to be starting with Maru of the Winter Caves to go with our early man and prehistory segment. And then our next one will be The Golden Goblet, which is set in ancient Egypt. So, and I have more that as we go along. I will show you the ones that are linked to our units when we do the unit. And otherwise, I may show you when I talk more about Quiver of Arrows. So that's our literature. I also want to mention we are doing kind of what I call special math. as a family subject during our morning time. And this kind of happened by accident, but a lot of the ancient cultures that we're studying made a lot of discoveries, I don't know what the right word is, progress in the maths and sciences. And also we just had math that I wanted to review. And so I was going to do them along with our unit, and then I realized I was just going to spread it out over the term. So for each of the first 3 terms, I believe, I have a special math unit. So for the first term, it's time. And I did this with my daughter last year, so she's somewhat comfortable with it, but we're going to be doing it more in detail with her and just introducing it to my son. So I have some books that I'll be reading during morning time to that effect. And we also got a clock, a big clock in our living room. So they've actually, it's only been up for a couple weeks, and they love that clock. And they just tell me all the time where the hands are. And that's the most useful tool for teaching time. And yeah, should have done that earlier. But then in the second term, we will be doing, we'll be doing time. I know third term will be money, and I have some books on money. And it's something I also introduced some of the coins to my daughter last year, but I will be doing more with both of them, and I got some books on that, and I also got a game that we can play, and she's just been introduced to coins, and my son somewhat knows about the coins, but we'll do more with him, and then we'll also introduce the bills, the dollar and so forth, with money. And geography is what we're doing term 2, because we will be doing ancient Greece at one point during term 2, and so there's some fun books connected with geometry. Which again, I can, like, the books are kind of in between their levels. Some of them might be aimed a little bit higher, but my son can listen to the book, and if he doesn't, they're going to get out of it what they're going to take. Charlotte Mason often says this: you lay the feast out before them, and they will take as they need and want. So we'll be doing that. Those are our special math. And I think I just have 1 or 2 more subjects. My last 2 subjects are physical education and health. So let me quickly talk about physical education. I don't really have anything formal planned for this. They did just take swim class. I may or may not count that. It was just during the summer. But I when I had to put it down on our minimum course of study for the state, I did put down hiking, biking, and yoga, as my children just bike up and drop down our driveway all the time. So I can just, say that we were doing that for PE. I'm trying to incorporate more hikes into both our nature study and also family hikes at least 1 week in a month. That's a goal. Something easy, because they're still young and I have a newborn with me, so it's not going to be anything crazy at this point. But I think it still counts. So hikes, and then during the winter when we don't get outside as much, I would like to do some more yoga. I've done a little bit with them, but it's fun to do. So that's my plan for PE. It's nothing formal. Hopefully, I do have a place to write down what we're doing. So if I see that we're not doing much, I can try to incorporate more movement into our days, both for me and the kids. And then the last subject is health. And what I've decided to do this year is first aid and safety. So I got this Good and the Beautiful unit. I think it's one of their science units on safety. I printed it out and put it in this binder. So it's got different chapters, including fire safety, water and electricity, earthquakes and natural disasters, and so on. And so I'll be using this. We'll be doing, we'll probably just spend like a portion of a morning or an afternoon doing 1 unit once a month. And then we can kind of refresh what we've learned throughout the year. But I'm also doing first aid, which, so this is more just safety. And I will be doing first aid with kind of an herbalist bent. We will be making our own first aid kits. We have first aid supplies, but they're not very organized right now. So I'm also using it as an opportunity to really organize like a car first aid kit and a home first aid kit, and then maybe mini one to go in my purse, which I've had in the past, but just things have gotten crazy and disorganized. So I'm going to have the kids actually help me. We're going to talk about what we could need and why. And we're going to make some, we're pretty much out of the herbal salve that I've made before with calendula and chickweed and plantain. So I think that's all we're going to put in. But the kids can talk to me about some of our herb fairies are great for healing the skin. So we're going to try to make a salve in August. I believe that's going to be our kind of our health day, talking about that. I also did want to mention that together we will be doing a circle time. which I try to do most mornings. And it includes a calendar time, going through our calendar and moving our ring and talking about the weather and the season and the month. And it also includes seasonal songs, poems, and finger plays. And this is also a time when I will throw in a book about an upcoming holiday, and that we also write what we are thankful for in our gratitude journals. At this point, my son's only 4. He's not writing yet. My daughter's still getting comfortable, so mostly we share and I write it down for them. But I didn't want to forget to say that that's definitely a family subject. I don't know if it's really a subject, but it's something that we do as a family and is an integral part of our school day. I think that's all of our family subjects. I will be talking more about my daughter and son's individual subjects in separate videos, so look out for those. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to see things in more detail, tell me in the comments. Please like and let me know. It helps on YouTube for more people to see it if you like and comment, so please do so, and I will talk to you later.